Good morning. Thank you so much for coming on. This is our Monday morning training. My name is Adam Brsan. So today's topic, we're talking about selling on value over price. And to me, it's just this is a topic that I really feel strongly about. I think that there's so many different, different product options out there. We're not selling auto insurance, where people are just looking for the absolute lowest price in every single scenario. And even I guess even those that sell PNC. I mean, there's companies out there that have that value where or maybe there's clients out there that aren't just looking for the cheapest thing, but they want value. They want to work with, a reputable company, a company that's going to do their part when the time comes, and make sure that claims are paid, things like that. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and get started again today. We're talking about selling on value over price. And, like I said, there's so many different options out there when it comes to final expense, so many different companies. I mean, the competition is just crazy. And I think maybe that's why a lot of agents out there feel like they just have to sell the absolute cheapest product out there. They're so afraid of getting their business replaced. And the problem with that, if all you're focusing on is selling the lowest, the cheapest, in my opinion, it's like anything else we buy in life. The cheapest thing out there, it's probably not the best quality either. And again, there's people out there that are looking for quality, and I like to sell based on quality, and I like to sell based on value. And again, giving the person that mindset of what we're doing and what we're selling is a lot different. This is something you're not going to be able to get anywhere else. There's no other company that does this. Just little things like that we have to put into perspective when we're selling, where we don't always have to just focus on the absolute lowest price. So now, why do agents sell based on the lowest price available? And feel free to chime in. You can even put things in the chat box if you'd like, and we can kind of work our way through this. But why do agents sell based on lowest price available? And as I mentioned, I feel like it is a very competitive market. I've been strictly focused on final expense for 20 years now. I don't feel like the competition was anywhere near what it is today. Back when I first started, I feel like really back in maybe like 2007, 2008. It was during that mortgage crisis when I feel like more and more companies were getting into final expense, or at least maybe they had the product, but they really started to market it a lot more. And I think the reason for that is because it's a recession-proof market. I mean, it's a market where we're dealing with people on a fixed income. The economy is really not affecting them too much. Inflation could be a little bit, but overall, their way of living, their finances, they really don't change a whole lot. Majority of our clients are living on some form of Social Security. But why are again, because it's a competitive market, agents do have that fear of getting their business replaced. And yeah, that's part of the business. If you're selling the cheapest product, the lowest price, maybe you leave with that comfort of, well, it's going to be real hard for someone to come in and replace this because I just wrote them the cheapest policy that's out there. But what happens when the next product comes out, where all of a sudden the product that you wrote is no longer the cheapest, and all you sold that person on was the face amount and the rate and the fact that it was an affordable price? So I think that if you can take your business to the next level and you can focus on adding more value than just selling somebody on the cheapest price. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, how good are you at sales if all you're focused on is selling somebody the lowest price? To me, that's more of an order taker than anything. Even people that are out there that are like professionals at replacing business. I mean, what kind of talent is that? I think that if you can learn how to sell and you can sell on value and what you can do to help your clients, you're gonna get much further ahead. I mean, I was with a company when I first got in the business for 11 and a half years that at the time I didn't even realize it because I never even really thought about it. Social media, everything else. I mean, the word gets out there, I guess, a lot more these days, but their rates were higher than pretty much everybody. But they did have that value. There were parts of their product that kind of separated themselves from what other companies were doing. Those were the sort of things that I focused on. That sort of value that I can bring my client, where they have that mindset that this is completely different than anything else I'm going to be able to find. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, just different ways of adding that value that are going to make you better at sales too. And these are things that are going to help keep your business on the books, regardless of price. Another reason agents sell based on the lowest price available. Again, our target market, we are working with primarily people that I would consider middle to low income. Like I mentioned, a good majority of the people we work with are living on some form of Social Security, government assistance. They receive their check, their deposit once a month, and that's really about all that they're living on. So, I mean, I do understand, we do need to focus on that. The fact that the people that we're working with, they don't have a whole lot of money. But to me, again, like I mentioned, I mean, we can keep it affordable and still offer a quality product and keep that client happy and they'll stick with you for a long time. So why do I sell based on value? Again, for me, I feel like when I sell on value, it's going to separate me from the competition. There's this rate calculator out there, and I use it, the insurance toolkit. And it's a great tool. When I went from being independent, when I went from, I would say, almost like a captive situation, really both the two main companies I worked with in the business for 18, 19 years in the business before I decided to go independent. I would consider both of those scenarios kind of more of like captive situations. And so when I broke out and decided to start building my own entity, Unity Life Group, I realized that I needed a little bit of help. I was so used to just focus on that one product, the one company, and that toolkit really has been very helpful. I think it's a great tool. You can plug in, people's age, their health, you plug in their medications, and it gives you the best options that are available. And I use that as a tool. I mean, I have a primary carrier with a product offering that we're going to be talking about today that I like to focus on first. If I know that person will not qualify for that product based on their health, or if I know that maybe I can get them first day coverage somewhere else, well, then I'm gonna kind of shift gears and look at those other options that are available. But I like to sell based on value. If you've seen some of my other content out there, I mean, you'll notice I like to do things a little bit different than everybody else out there. My presentation, even, I would consider a little bit different. I don't want to sound like the last 10 people that were in the house. I want to do things a little bit different, and that's where I like to add the value and focus. I mean, and you can do that with so many different ways. Even if the product that I want to be able to help the client with, that I want to be able to use, even if they don't qualify for that, I have other ways of adding value. And really all you guys do. Majority of these carriers out there, they all have supplies that you can order, but a lot of them even have like memorial guides that you can order, planning guides, where just something as simple as that, when you're presenting and you're not just talking about face amounts and rates, you pull out a memorial guide, you go through that and you explain that, look, we're going to provide you with this tool that's going to help your family in the time of need, because you're going to put it all together for them ahead of time. And your family is going to really appreciate that because you took the time to do that for them. It'll make things a lot easier. That's adding value. Just something as simple as that. I would also recommend I don't know what carriers you guys are using. It's not a bad idea to pick up the phone and call the carrier and ask them on average about how long it takes for them to pay a claim. I would say a non-contestable claim, meaning that the person has had that policy for over 2 years. Because within 2 years, every company is going to take a little bit longer. They are able to do their due diligence and go in and contest those policies. They can look into medical records, things like that, within the first couple of years. After that, they cannot. So every company, within the first 2 years might take a little bit longer to pay that claim. But if it's a non-contestable claim, find out how long is it going to take for that claim to be paid. And that's another thing that can add value. You want to work with companies that have a good history of paying claims and paying claims quickly, because we want to make sure that what we're selling is going to serve its purpose. And if I'm selling a product that's focused on final expenses and to help that person's family when they pass with covering their final expenses, I want to make sure that money is going to be there to be able to be used for what it's intended for. So find out from the carriers that you're using, how fast are you guys at paying claims? I think that's very important. And I remember years ago, I called one company and I feel like I was the first person that ever called and asked them that question. They were like, well, hold on a minute. We're going to have to get back to you on this. And they did, and they told me about how long it would take to pay those claims. But just little things like that, again, that adds value. If you're working with a company that's going to pay that claim quickly, you can talk about that in your presentation. And that makes what I'm selling unique and different than anything else out there, because most people, all they're talking about is face amounts and rates. And like I said, if that's all you're focused on is face amounts and rates, when that big old new product comes out that has the lowest rates out there and the easiest underwriting, well, then you set yourself up for that business to be replaced because you didn't add any more value than just the lowest price out there. So the product that I've been using that's kind of like my go-to, it's a product with American Amicable. It's called the Platinum Solution and the Platinum Legacy. The Platinum Solution is the younger ages 0 to 49, and then the Legacy is ages 50 to 85. And this is a product, and they have so many different final expense products depending on the organization that you're working with. They have the senior choice, the older ages, the family choice. And then I know that there's a few others that are pretty comparable. I think the underwriting is the same. The rates might just be a little bit different depending on which product you're offering. But another thing too, and being in the business to pay claims. American Amicable back in 2021, in the middle of COVID, they paid out over 13,000 claims, totaling over $141 million in death benefits. That's another thing I talk about when I'm in the home. This gives my clients the confidence to know that they're working with a company that is not afraid to pay a claim. So, and again, we want to make sure that this is going to serve its purpose. So a little bit about American Amicable for those of you who don't know. They've been around for a long time now, 113 years. Home office is in Waco, Texas. Really nice facility. It's an older building. I was down there back in January, and just they treat you really nice. Like I said, great company. They see both sides of things. They see the agent's perspective on things, but they also know that they're running a business. And, that's one thing too. With me, I've been on the inside and the outside of a lot of these companies in the past. So I kind of understand that as well, what the companies are expecting, but then also the mindset of the agent. And they know that agents are out there working hard. They look at agent as like their agent partners, they call them, which I like. But again, they're an A-rated company, and they were acquired by Industrial Alliance Insurance and Financial Services back in 2010, and now they're worth $109 billion in assets. So again, financially sound company. They're not going anywhere. And like I said, I like the product and the product offering, and that it adds a lot of value. And that's what we're going to talk about on this Platinum solution, the Platinum Legacy. Like I said, it's the same underwriting as other products. One thing that's nice too on the Platinum product, they call it return a premium, where most companies call it modified. Like, let's say you write somebody and you think it's going to get approved first day coverage, and then it goes to modified. Well, American Amicable calls it return a premium. The commissions on the return a premium on the Platinum product are not reduced. And that's something that's pretty unique. Most companies, even other American Amicable products, if it goes from a first day coverage to a modified or return a premium, as they call it, there's usually going to be a commission reduction. So that's, again, what do you think that says? That says to me that they know that this is a product that's adding value, that business is going to stay on the books. And that's why they're not going to reduce your commission on it. They want you to write this product. And it's, again, same as Senior Choice, Family Choice, or I think Golden Solutions might be another name that they use for their final expense product. Has the immediate, the graded, and then also the return of premium benefits. Now, the premiums, they are a little higher than the Senior Choice and the Family Choice. And again, I don't really focus on that. I don't worry too much about rates because I'm selling on the value, and doing this properly. I mean, my clients, they love this product. And it gives them that mindset that it's not just another insurance policy. This is the one that's going to handle everything. In-home sales and also telesales options are both available on the product. And then there's some no-cost benefits that I really like. And we haven't even gotten to like the main part, but they have, there's a terminal illness accelerated death benefit rider. What that means is that if that person were to be diagnosed with a terminal illness, they can receive 100% of that death benefit while they're still living, where they could take the money from the insurance policy. They could run up to the funeral home and pay off their funeral themselves if they would like. There's an accelerated death benefit for confined care. It actually will pay the client a 5% allowance while they are in a nursing home. It's 5% of the face amount of the policy. Something that's, again, adding value, very unique, something that I've never seen another company do. And then they have the optional benefits, a nursing home waiver of premium. I always think that that's a very good option, a very good rider. What happens when someone ends up in a nursing home? A lot of times the nursing home will take over their assets. If they have a life insurance policy, they might end up losing it. But with that nursing home waiver of premium, then that means that the person no longer has to pay a premium, but they'll have that policy for the rest of their life. And they don't have to pay that premium while they're in the nursing home. Also accidental death benefits. There's also child riders that can be added as well, grandchild riders. And then the big one is the membership to the Everest Funeral Concierge Service. And again, they're an organization that they help with a lot of the planning. The person can kind of put their whole plan in order. And again, when the time comes, all the family has to do is make a phone call. These guys step in, they go to bat for the family. They're real good about negotiating those prices. One question you could always ask your prospect when you're talking about how things will look when they pass away. You could always ask them, who's going to be handling your final expenses? Who's going to be handling your arrangements? Your daughter. Now, has your daughter ever had to plan a funeral? Has she ever had to go into the funeral home and pick out how she wants things done for another loved one. And a lot of times they're going to say no. And you can even ask them, what's that day going to look like? And they're probably going to tell you, it's probably going to be pretty hard on them. It's probably going to be pretty difficult. And that's where you can talk about this Everest funeral concierge service, where these guys are going to step in and they're going to make your son or daughter's day go maybe a little bit smoother. And they're real good about negotiating those prices as well. So yeah, the no cost benefits, as I mentioned, the terminal illness rider, that'll pay 100% of that death benefit while the person's living. As I mentioned, they can run up to that funeral home, the cemetery, they can take care of everything themselves before the fact. And then that's the accelerated death benefit, where the confined care, where they'll pay that monthly allowance, 5% of the face amount of the policy, to just at least give them a little bit of money, a little bit of funds while they're stuck in the nursing home. And then, as I mentioned, there's the grandchild rider, which is really nice. $1 per month per grandchild, $5,000 per unit. So figure $10,000, $2 per child a month to have coverage on them. It's a great benefit, and it's a great addition to a policy. Again, we're adding a little bit of value there. We can get your grandkids covered too, with at least a little something to make sure, God forbid, something were to happen to one of them. It costs just as much to bury a child as it does an adult. So at least there's some coverage there for them. And then the children's rider, $6,000 of term insurance on the children. There's that nursing home waiver premium rider. We kind of already talked about that. Once they've been in a nursing home for 90 days, they would qualify, and then their premiums no longer will have to be paid while they're in the nursing home, but they'll still have that policy. And then, of course, there's an accidental death benefit. Usually on something like that, I just double the death benefit if the person were to die in an accident. So if I'm writing a $15,000 policy, I'll probably just add the $15,000 for accidental as well. And that's available up to the age of 80. So you really don't need to add. I mean, I've always thought about that. Even if they didn't offer it even if they did offer it over the age of 80, I mean, the chances of someone, once they get up there in age, of dying in an accident is much slimmer than dying of natural causes. So I really don't see the point in writing an accidental rider on somebody who is, close to 80 years old or older anyways. So yeah, the Everest, who's Everest? As I mentioned, they're an independent consumer advocate. Everest is available to more than 25 million individuals across the United States and Canada. They have 24/7 advisors to provide peace of mind and confidence when making difficult funeral-related decisions. And these guys, they're licensed funeral home directors, and that will work with American Amicable to help expedite the payout of the life insurance. So the claim gets paid quickly. Afterwards, maybe go on YouTube and just type in Everest Funeral Concierge Service. There's that video along with a few others. And again, it's just, like I said, it's a great program. And this video is just more of kind of like I don't know, I guess you could call it like a cute sort of thing, that when the client is done watching it, they don't feel sad. It's more kind of like they just, again, they make you feel like, wow, this is really nice. It's something that's going to do a lot for my family and make things easier on them when the time comes. So they offer 24/7 assistance. And again, the people, they put their whole plan in order ahead of time. They negotiate those prices with the funeral home. They've been saving families between $2,000 and $4,000 off the cost of the funeral. Unfortunately, I mean, I know funeral homes are in business to make money, and that's fine. And making a profit is one thing, but we want to make sure that they're making an honest profit. And a lot of times what the funeral homes will do is, the family's grieving. The family is grieving. They're not really thinking straight. The funeral home likes to upsell, and they like to add things to the bill that just really aren't necessary. For instance, I had a client once that one of their family members passed away. The funeral home asked them if they'd like this really nice picture of the Last Supper in the casket. And the family, oh yeah, that would be really nice. The funeral home charged them $800 for this picture that was in the casket. Well, yeah, really, really nice picture, but really, is it necessary? I don't think so. And that's again where that's what a lot of the funeral homes do. They're not raising their prices. A lot of people always go around and say, the funeral home, yeah, they're just raising the prices on people. They're not. They have price lists that have to be followed, but they upsell. They add a bunch of extra stuff that just isn't necessary. And that's where these guys will step in and be like, well, hold on a minute. What are you guys doing here? You really think that they need a picture of the Last Supper in the casket? You're charging them $800 for it? I don't think so. So again, they're there as a guardian. They're just there as someone overseeing what's going on to make sure everything is done right and make sure the family pays what they should be paying for things, that the family doesn't get ripped off. And one thing I always tell my clients, there's more expense than just the expense of the funeral home. If that funeral home uses up all the money, how would the cemetery be paid? We want to make sure that there's money for all of these things. So, and again, these guys, they'll negotiate with the cemetery as well. Same thing. We don't need all these little extra things. Someone asked, they saw the Evers video on YouTube. Is this service more money or included with the monthly premium? It's part of the platinum product, the platinum legacy, which is at the older ages, the platinum solution, which is the younger ages. And it's incorporated in with the rate. And I would say that it probably adds maybe about $4 or $5 a month to the premium. It's incorporated in with the rate, but like if you do some rate calculations and you calculate this rate to like the senior choice rate, it is a little bit higher. But like I said, it's funny, like I'll be in a house and they might tell me that it's just a little bit too high. And I might tell them, well, they have another product. If you don't care too much about this, all the funeral stuff, they have another product. I can run the rate. It might be a little bit less. And most people always tell me, oh no, we really like that. If anything, maybe we'll just start with like a little bit less coverage, but we really like that benefit. And like I said, it gives the client the mindset that this is not just another life insurance policy. This is taking it a step further. This is helping them put their entire funeral plan in place, where then all the family's got to do is make that one phone call. And so, yeah, it's a very good, again, yeah, it adds that value. And like I said, that's what I've always liked to focus on, is selling on value over price. That one company I talked about when I first started in the business, they got green grass in their logo. My persistency hung around 90%. Everyone talks about how they got the highest rates and they're the easiest company to replace. They're easy to replace for the agents that are not selling that product properly, that are not adding all of the value. And if they're selling that product and they're not going through all that stuff and they're just talking about the face amounts and the rates, well, then they're asking to get that business replaced. But they have a similar sort of thing to the Everest, and that was something that I always presented. I always added that value, and the clients, like I said, they really like it. My persistency, yeah, their rates were higher than everybody. This platinum product, it's the highest priced final expense product that American Amicable offers, and that's the one that I'm offering to my clients. And again, they like the value. And again, at the end, they feel very good about this, and they're giving me a hug when I'm leaving the house because they know that I care, and this is something that I introduced them to that's really going to make their family's life a heck of a lot easier. And that's really what they care most about. That's why they're sending the cards in. That's why they're filling out forms online. They're doing this for their family. So why don't we offer something that's really going to help their family outside of just getting that money when they need it? And then there's even some additional benefits. They make sure that claim is paid through this Everest. They make sure that claim is paid within 48 hours. So the person dies on a Monday, by Wednesday, the family should have that money. And again, that's on a non-contestable claim. If it's within those first 2 years, again, it could take a little bit longer, but I'm sure that they're going to do what they can to try to speed up that process. They also offer free will preparation. Ask your client if they have a will. Well, we can help you put a will together. Power of attorney papers. If you, let's say let's say you get sick, Mrs. Jones, and you're unable to handle your business, and you have to appoint a family member as a power of attorney for you. We can help with that as well. It's all incorporated in with the Everest plan. The Tenzing, it's that's basically just where they're able to kind of store all of their important documents in the system, as well as their funeral arrangements and all of that. That's another thing I always bring up to the clients. These, even if they have other insurance policies outside of this one, they can use all of the policies. But I always wonder how many policies go unclaimed because the family can never find the policy, or they just don't know even the company that it's with. So those are all sort of things that can be stored into this system where it's all easy access. I mean, heck, what if the person dies, unfortunately, in a house fire or something, and all their documents are just burnt up? Well, at least with this, it's all stored into this secure system, and all of the information for all of those arrangements will be right there for easy access for the family to be able to get to. So the way that it works at the time of need, family contacts Everest. They discuss the wishes. They review those costs, and they negotiate them with the funeral home. And then they get in touch with the funeral home. And like I said, the funeral homes, they might not like the service, but I bet they do. I'm sure they don't mind, because it maybe they're not going to make as much money, but they are going to be assured that that claim is paid quickly. And well, the funeral homes are in the business to get that money. At least they know that within 48 hours, they're going to be paid. So maybe they won't make as much because these guys are going to bat for the family and negotiating those prices. But at least the funeral home will be happy to know that that money will be there and it'll be paid. So who also offers a similar product? So because again, like I mentioned, the way I present it, I mean, they are like my go-to. I really like that product. And they're just easy to work with. Their underwriting, another thing about American Amicable, they give you a chance to plead your case. Like, let's say that you wrote a piece of business, you thought it should be issued first day coverage. It comes back return a premium or modified, that other companies would call it. What's cool on their e-app is they let you know why. They let you know why it went to return a premium based off of like a certain medication. You have a chance then to review that with your client. And if it all kind of adds up, or maybe it doesn't add up, and it seems like they maybe still could qualify for first day coverage. I mean, for instance, I had one last week. I mean, it was a medication that had been prescribed like 5 years ago, and it hadn't been prescribed since. And I inputted that information, and it ended up coming back getting issued as applied for. So most companies, if a piece of business gets pushed to modified, they don't give you a chance to plead your case. It's just going to be issued modified. So I like the fact that they take it that extra step. Maybe it takes an extra day to get the policy issued, but at least you have a chance to maybe win some cases for your clients and still get that business issued with first day coverage. But in scenarios where maybe they don't qualify, or maybe it would be a return of premium with American Amicable, and that maybe there's another company that would cover them first day. Well, one of those companies that I've been using is SBLI, stands for Savings Bank Mutual Life Insurance Company. They're out of Boston, Massachusetts. And it's a great product, easy to write. Their e-app is very simple to the point. Fast approval. I mean, right then and there when you're doing the e-app that it's going to get, whether it will get issued as applied for, or if it would go to like a modified death benefit. The big ones, COPD, Parkinson's too, day one coverage. A lot of companies will go to like a modified on that. Now COPD and Parkinson's, they're both a standard rate with them. So they have like a preferred and a standard. The standard is a little bit more as far as the monthly premium, but they still would get that first day coverage. So, let's say I have a scenario where the person right away, they tell me that they have COPD. Well, then I'm shifting my focus from that American Amicable product to the SBLI, because I know that I can get them that first day coverage as long as there's no other ailments that could maybe push them to a modified death benefit. And what they offer, I don't really have a whole lot that I'll be going through on it today, but it's a free membership to the Sequoia Funeral Concierge Service. Very similar program to the Everest that is offered through the American Amicable Platinum product. Of course, a different service, but very similar sort of thing where they can help kind of put everything in order. They're real good about negotiating the prices. So again, there's that value there. There's two companies right there that offer those sort of things where you just don't have to focus on face amounts and rates and offer the lowest premium in hopes that that's a good enough reason for your business to stick. Give the client that mindset that this is different, that we're not just helping with the funding, we're helping with the planning too. This is the plan that's going to handle your entire funeral. And they really like it. Now, one thing that's cool with that Sequoia plan too is that you can add up to like 8 or 9 family members to that plan, where they might not have the insurance policy with the SBLI, but the family members can still use those services free of charge. So another family member passes away, they're still able to get in touch with the Sequoia, and they can help and they can work with those funeral homes and they can negotiate those prices. So like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, we're adding value and we're doing a lot to help the family. We're the client and the family. And they just have that mindset of this is the one that's going to pay for my funeral. And I'm putting my whole funeral plan together. Why would I want someone come in here and replacing this when I would lose all these additional benefits? So if you like what you heard today and you're not a part of what I'm doing with Unity Life Group, our agency, feel free to reach out. You can either go to adambrsan.com or unitylifegroup.com and fill in an inquiry. I'd be happy to set up a call with you, see what we can do to help you. We have a great lead program. Actually, we have a lead financing program too for agents that maybe need a little bit of assistance when it comes to the leads, where heck, if you go out and bet on yourself and you write some business and the leads will pay for themselves. So, we have the lead financing. We're primarily working Facebook and direct mail leads. The lead financing is primarily for field sales, but we do also have telesales options as well. And, we have contracts for team builders, people that are looking to build and grow. Where, we don't have to put you at the lowest level. There is some room there to be able to bring agents on under you. And heck, what's the best time to get in with with an organization when they're just kind of getting going? Other organizations out there that maybe are already built up, there's so many layers that you could walk in and get contracted and you're under a manager of a manager of a manager of a manager, where you really don't have that same opportunity to build and grow as you would with an organization like mine, where, like I said, I just went independent about 6 months ago, and we're building our own brand and our own entity, and we're putting some pretty good things together. So feel free to check us out. Love to set up a call and see what we could do to help you build and grow long term. And then you can check out my training too, adambrsan.com, and YouTube, check out the YouTube channel. This video should be on there later today. And you can go back and rewatch it, and you can watch some of the previous content as well. I talk about, different presentations that I've used in the past. I think last week we broke down a plan of how you can earn at least 6 figures over the next 12 months. And so again, little things like that, feel free to reach out to if you have any questions. I'd be happy to go through that with you. And hope you have a great week. I hope you learned at least a little something today. And, like I said, if you want to be a real salesman, don't just focus on selling the cheapest thing out there. when you're going out and buying a car, I mean, do you want to go on the classifieds and just find the cheapest, highest mileage vehicle just because it's cheap? Probably not. You want to find something that's at least a little bit better quality. And I like to sell on quality and value and things that are gonna, like I said, that are gonna help that family and give the client that mindset that this isn't just another insurance policy. This is my funeral plan that's going to handle all those immediate expenses, and it's going to handle all of the arrangements. So yeah, like I said, feel free to reach out. Hope you have a great week. So that's all I had for today. Hope y'all have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Same place, same time. Thanks.